don't do this, but I'm going to do that like total stereotypical teacher and start with a Rumi poem. But I like this. And it's not even a poem, it's just a little quote. And it goes, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. Yeah, I like that. I like to think about that when we think about this practice, you know. You're not going to do it wrong. The mind might say, oh, you're doing this wrong. You can't even fucking breathe right. You know? We constantly get distracted. Constantly. Whether it's a sound, a thought, a memory, a plan. And it's not about how long you've been in that thought. It's about the kind of response of coming back to what is right now. And I've been reflecting lately on, you know, that response, right? How are we responding to ourselves? Anybody else have some really killer inner dialogue going on most of the day? Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's like I think of it like a roommate that just won't do the dishes, just won't, come on, can you just take the trash out? You know? And they're not going away, you know? So it's like, all right, can we live together? You know? But I've been thinking of this, the alchemy of presence. And just alchemy, right? Taking, you know, one thing and making it, you know, something that's, what is it, iron to gold or something like that, you know? And that's kind of what's happening here with the stuff that arises. The emotions, the feelings, the stuff that we don't want, you know, if we're with it. But even the alchemy of presence, I'm kind of rethinking that it's like an alchemy within the presence, within our presence. You know, we come to practice, right? We come here with some intention, you know. We want more or less of something, and it's a healthy desire, and maybe the mindfulness can help us with that. But if your mind's anything like mine, the mind has a different agenda a lot of times, right? I'm like, all right, we're going to meditate right now, okay. The mind's like, no, you're not. You're going to think about that thing, and we need to worry about this, and da-da-da-da. It's like, fuck. And the more I try to stop that from happening, the louder it gets. The more uncomfortable it can get. There's fucking things to think about, damn it. Got to figure some shit out. Then I can rest, if we figure it out. Right? I've never found rest when okay, you figured that out, but what's this other thing we need to figure out too? And sometimes there's these quiet moments, right? In our practice, there'll be little moments of quiet, right? But within that quiet, we'll often find that craving arises. Comfort. We want comfort, more clarity, control, right? Something. But when you notice that, when we notice that the mind is doing that, this is the rub or the cool thing. That's the practice. When we notice that there is a craving, when we notice that we are trying to figure something out or trying to forget something, the moment we notice that, that's the practice. You noticed, yay. Right? You are super aware that the mind is thinking. Sometimes painfully aware, you know. In mindfulness, that's all it is awareness. Present time, moment to moment, in real time, what is happening right now. And we are emotional, meaning-making beings. Yeah? And it's a beautiful thing, Emotions are beautiful. So again, coming back to when that's happening, noticing, yes, totally, but how are we responding? That's the dialogue, right? It's like, are we meeting it with judgment, hate? I fucking hate this thought, this feeling. I'm trying to get rid of it. Just judging ourselves because it's still there and we're still ruminating on it. Yeah. Anybody relate to that? Yeah. I thought I was over this. Maybe. But instead of holding those parts of us in contempt, trying to put those parts of us on exile on some island somewhere, What if instead of holding on, even like holding on to the craving, the desire, or hating what's happening up in here, in the heart and the mind, the heart-mind, what if we can transform that into just curiosity, Because when we do, that's the response. What is happening right now? So mindfulness invites us to shift the awareness. Shift from a place of wanting to a place of wonder. And it's often called a contemplative practice. There's all kinds of different meditations. There's concentration meditation, there's sound meditation, there's all kinds. Chanting meditations, they're all beautiful. Mindfulness in particular is a certain form of meditation. And a lot of times it's referred to as a contemplative practice, contemplating this human experience. I like to say this human experiment. Let's put on our lab coats. Yeah? We're going to make mistakes, but we learn from the mistakes. Yeah. And each sensation, each thought holds not just the story of why we feel this way. The story is compelling. But we can also get into the wisdom of that sensation, of that thought as well, by approaching our direct experience with curiosity. Yeah. And that's how we unlock this deeper understanding of what's going on right now. There's stimulus and response with everything. That just happened. Something just happened. And it's like, wow, it sounded intense. So it can be activating. And of course, we need to, is everything okay? That's curiosity. And we let ourselves know, okay, we are okay. Does anybody need help? I don't know. So we sit. This is what we sit with. We sit with our experience as it unfolds. What's up, Matt? How you doing, bud? Our direct experience, how it unfolds. And we set this container. I like thinking of it as a container of presence. Feet, seat, sounds, breath. Take a look around. Our senses. And the more we do that, we broaden the scope, right? We widen the container. And we brought in some of these practices last week, and I like to do this a lot these days is, reflect on nature, the sky, the ocean, And thoughts are here too, within this container. Maybe these thoughts are like birds just flying by, clouds slowly passing. Emotions, feelings like waves rising and passing, crashing on the shore. Whatever works. Yeah. That's another cool thing is we can use our imagination for good things, I like to get weird with it a little bit. And we notice when craving is present. We notice when that discomfort is present. We notice when it just does not feel good. That repetitive thought, that repetitive emotion that just won't go away. We meet it with curiosity. And we can be curious of what's at the core. What's at the core of this? Wanting to get away from this, Escape, just escape, Or connection. Maybe there's an energy to what's going on. Maybe there's comfort, excitement. We notice. And when I talk about craving, I know about craving, being, someone that suffered from addiction. I know craving, and that's a fucking hard one, when you're craving a substance. But it could be craving anything, Another moment, just not here, just something different, something more, something less. There's so much suffering in that. So we just name it, right? That's what's happening. Craving's happening, and this is what's underneath. This is what is fueling this craving. And we begin to start feeling into it, right? Because what is present really, when we let go of the story, is a sensation. There's a tightening up. There's an energy in the body. There's a swirling in the belly. The whole fucking body's just tingling. And we begin to feel. And this is where the alchemy begins. Curiosity. What does craving feel like? And again, when I'm speaking to craving, it's just, wanting to be away from. So emotion, a feeling, there's a thought and it's attached to some kind of, The curiosity is, what are the sensations we feel in the body? Is there a tightening? Is the whole body tightening up? When I first came into practice, a mindfulness practice, I came in because I was really agitated all the time, and I was super tight. I noticed like my shoulders were just like, I had these cobra shoulders, just ready to attack, waiting for somebody, to attack me. My hands were always tight. So I began to notice that, and I would like soften, just relax the shoulders. And then I got to see what was underneath that. Those big swirling feelings in the belly, the chest, the worry, the self-doubt, the low self-esteem. But even being curious with that, letting go of even just naming it worry or doubt, sensation, heaviness in the belly, and watching it move. Be in the belly, then it come into the chest and the throat, and then back down. It's like, wow. And sometimes go away, but then come back. Softening around the edges of that sensation and just breathing. Taking a breath into it. Maybe softening on the out breath. Being curious, holding, being with light, compassionate awareness that's right here. And that's what compassion is. Not fixing how we feel, but just being with how we feel. Acknowledging that we feel this way. And when working with emotions, I always like to think of it like you're doing yoga, yeah? You do a lot of yoga, yeah, Mark? Yeah, you like yoga. But you want to go right to where that tension is, right? I did yoga a lot, and I would always like hurt my back because I'm pretty limber, so I'd be like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna nail this pose. Downward facing dog all day. And I wonder why my hamstrings, my back were always fucked up, Until I had a wise teacher that actually was paying attention. He goes, yo, go right they're like, where do you feel it? And I'm like, right there. And they're like, cool, chill right there for a moment. As long as you can, and then come out of that. And then maybe next time you can go a little bit deeper. Yeah. So it's the same with working with these emotions, that arrive, without trying to escape. And this is where we go back to the container of presence. All right, that's here. Can I be with it? Can I watch it? Nope, hell no. Feet, seat, sounds. Take a breath, look around, When we do that, we can, respond. Maybe even ask the question, what does this really need right now? What does this feeling need right now? Maybe just validation. Yeah, you feel this way right now, Maybe just, what's up, dude? You cool? What's up, bro? Yeah. A response, a lot of times for me, I keep doing this. I'll just rest my hand wherever I feel that. Feel the warmth of my hand. I'm right here. Just letting that part of us know that we're right here. Yeah. And you can be pissed, you can be sad, you can be excited, all those things, and I'm right here. Yeah. Reassurance. Sometimes that's all we need. It's just like, whew, okay, dude. Yeah. Yeah. And I always quote this guy, but I love Jeff Foster, and he talks about working with, the feelings and emotions that arise in our practice. He says that your pain, your sorrow, your doubts, your deepest longings, your fearful thoughts are not mistakes, and they aren't asking to be healed. They are asking to be held here, now, lightly, in the loving arms of present awareness. Yeah. And I find that to be true, because I was always trying to heal the things that were happening, right? That's kind of why I got into practice of mindfulness, or even meditation and therapy. Is like I wanted to fix something, If I could just get to that, what happened, and figure it out, And I would get to that place, and it'd just make me more pissed, That's why, fuck, Instead of just being like, yeah, you still have that feeling that is here, and this is how it manifests now. We're activated in this way, and it stemmed from a long time ago. And this is the alchemy. This is where, when we are able to be with those parts of our experience, they can transform into some gold, because there's a lot of wisdom in it. There's a lot of wisdom in these emotions. There's a lot of wisdom in doubt. There's a lot of wisdom in these emotions that are rising. They're telling us something. Pause, reflect, The anger is not a bad emotion. It really isn't. Do we need to protect something? Maybe. A lot of times the anger for me, it was just made up shit, right? There was nothing to protect. But there's a little part of me that's like, don't let them say or judge you, That's all. What am I going to be judged? Big thing for me. So So coming back to that container of presence helps us be with these emotions and feelings that rise and pass. And this is, I feel, the transformative piece of mindfulness. It includes thoughts and emotions, doesn't dismiss them. It's part of this human experience. And can we have a wiser, more compassionate relationship to what arises? You know, rather than I'm a big dum-dum, you know, because I can't even breathe right. Can't focus on my breath, you know. So again, letting that go. Just whatever's arising is arising, you know. And we can keep setting this container wider and wider. And these things can rise and pass, you know. And we'll notice too, and you might notice that some thoughts are just so random. Feelings are just coming and going. But there are those ones that have the hook. And those are the ones that maybe you can spend a little time and be curious with. That's what it was. The alchemy, you know, that ancient practice. I did a little research, like what? Like turning lead into gold, turning one element into another element. Mindfulness can transform ordinary moments in our practice to sometimes some profound experiences. And this is where the healing begins. I don't feel like we get healed, but there's a healing that begins. And mindfulness, for me, is a place where we can explore that, have more wisdom around it, and then go deeper, you know, with therapy or whatever, you know, kind of stuff, you know, to get under the hood a little bit more, you know. Yeah. So our mindfulness practice just gives us a little window, you know, into something more that's here. You know, but only if we're willing to really commit to it, yeah? It's not for the faint of heart. It's difficult. It's difficult. It means facing ourselves and sometimes turning towards the uncomfortable parts within. You know. It's things that we're not at peace at or with. And they can tend to bubble up in our practice. There's a teacher I used to sit with, George Haas. Great teacher, but he did this practice where he'd bring in, at the end usually is like saying, I love you to yourself. I love you and keep going, which was really fucking hard, you know. Yeah. But I was thinking about, you know, one of these long fucking retreats I was doing, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about all the stuff that was arising, and another teacher was talking about, you know, just picture the emotions, the feelings, the thoughts as bubbles just kind of coming and going. I'm like, fuck, mine's like a fucking clogged toilet, you know, and it's just like fucking full of shit, you know. And the mindfulness practices, we're plunging that thing, you know, and you can't just stop. You can be bummed out and bum a lot of people out. So what came to my mind was, I love you, keep plunging. I love you, keep plunging, you know. Because eventually, you know, it'll flush. Or you got to get Roto-Rooter or something like that. Like, that's going to be stuck in your head the whole night now. You are welcome. Yeah. And like I said in the beginning, the Rumi poem, you know, there's no right or wrong with this, you know. It's just an experiment, really, you know. And I'm just sharing some words of like that mindfulness is a really transformative tool, you know. It really is. And that's it, as a tool. and we practice using that tool, right? So, if you're at a place where like these emotions that are coming up are too fucking big right now, open your eyes, move around, just check in with yourself, broaden the scope, the container, remember that container, and when you're ready, you'll know, okay, can I yoga pose this shit right now? Cool, okay. Come out of it and maybe go back into, you get to choose. And it's really an encouragement to just keep going, keep practicing, And I've heard some people sharing already that the container's already widening for them, which is cool, super cool. So the more we practice this, the more it just kind of comes into an intuitive, instinctual thing that, when stuff's coming up, we can, all right, let's fucking broaden the scope on this. This is happening right now, Gives us a little bit of space between stimulus and response. Yeah. And I say this because in this group, I'm saying these words and we're going to do a practice, but you get to do you in the practice, yeah? If you want to work with some stuff that's coming up and, yoga pose it or whatever I said, plunge it, cool. If you want to just rest, beautiful, Because I believe you all are doing some good work. So maybe just letting some of that good work just integrate. Just have a place where you can just be, yeah? And rest in that goodness that is you. It's right here, And the alchemy really, for me, is when I realized that person that I wanted to become, I already was. Yeah. It's already right here. It's just kind of muddled up with all these other things, Yeah. So we just slow down and we listen and our hearts will guide us. Yeah. Cool? Yeah. All right, so just taking a moment to shift our awareness, from this outward, connecting, shifting in a way that feels supportive. Your posture, if it's laying down, sitting, a way that feels sustainable for about 20, 25 minutes. And listening to your intuition, and maybe there's a posture that, feels just a little bit more supportive. Or the eyes being open feels more supportive. And as we shift this awareness, we begin by just noticing. Noticing where the mind is drawn right now, without trying to make anything stop or trying to get more of something else. You can even notice there's an energy of the body or in the mind itself where, it's kind of stirred up. Or maybe it's settling. Maybe you also notice that. Maybe there's a place already in your direct experience that you can shift your focus to that feels good enough just to rest, if only for a moment. shifting focus maybe to the feet. And we can incorporate this sense of curiosity, the sensations in the feet. What do you notice? Shoe, the sock, connection, temperature, tingling, throbbing. This whole back half of your body pressed into the chair or the floor. Allowing yourself to be held. This chair can hold you. This floor supporting you. This earth, it's got you. Can be in some contrast with places that are in the body that are still a little tight, still a little holding on. Tightness. Can you offer these places to soften, remind, or not? That's okay too. Shifting our awareness to what feels effortless right now. Sitting, laying down. Noticing this breath, effortlessly breathing in and breathing out all by itself. No need to change the way you're breathing. Just noticing. This is the breath coming in. This is the breath going out. Sometimes an intentional breath can help with the softening of any tension we feel. The belly, the shoulders, the chest. Intentional breath into these areas and just expanding. And on the out breath, seeing if you can just soften a little bit. We expand this awareness. Sounds, taste, smell, seeing, even with the eyes closed, there's shapes, there's colors. Setting this container of presence, of awareness. And within this container, of course, there's still thoughts, there's still emotions that come and go. Sometimes not fast enough. But remembering that it's not a mistake. It doesn't mean that you're meditating wrong. That is actually the moment of awakening. You just woke up in a thought. We can name it and just return to the feet, the seat, the sounds, the breath. Take a look around. widening the focus when it gets a little bit narrowed. The breath. The sounds. It can be a curiosity with these sounds too. Noticing just sounds coming and going. It's always a flavor, right? I like that sound, I don't like that sound. Or it's somewhere in between. Release that grip of wanting, not wanting. Just notice that sounds come and go. Expanding this awareness, this container, even outside these walls, into nature. Sky, trees, oceans. Sometimes I even like to imagine if I'm resting somewhere peaceful, calm, nature. Maybe that's helpful for you. You can try it on for yourself. See if it works. A place where you can rest. And just allow the thoughts fly by, birds in the sky. Clouds slowly passing. Thoughts like leaves floating down a river. As you get to rest, feet, seat, sounds, breath. On the shore of your direct experience of right now, it's like this. Allowing emotions to rise and pass. Like waves crashing on the ocean. Rapids, river. Or maybe just ripples in a lake. And you get to rest. And this is the simplicity of the practice. Sort of catch and release for right now. Notice, return. It doesn't mean it's easy, it's very simple. Shifting focus, shifting awareness to what else is present. When we feel that we're getting a little stuck, narrowed in. And maybe next time you find yourself narrowed into one of those feelings that are here, letting go of the story, and seeing if you can just be curious about the sensations. What am I feeling right now? Is there a tightness, a swirling? And just noticing is good enough. Maybe even naming the sensation and then returning to the feet, the seat, the sounds, the breath. Or if you feel like you can rest with it a little bit, be curious. You notice the sensation moving, rising, passing. You're just validating your experience. This emotion is here, of course. Of course it's here. Maybe asking the question of what it needs. What does it need right now? Maybe just awareness is good enough. Maybe resting a hand wherever you feel it. Or maybe shifting awareness back to the feet, the seat, the sounds. That's where we're at right now. And that's good enough too. So we can learn that we have choice. We have choice of where we want to rest our awareness, how we want to practice right now. And always just a gentle reminder that right now there's nowhere you need to go. Right now, there's nothing you need to do. And right now, there's no one you need to be or become. You get to rest. I'd like to invite you, if you'd like to follow along, with just a little bit of response and self-reflection for a moment here. Whether you're noticing just self-resting, or you're noticing some parts that are here that are a little difficult. Just picturing yourself in your mind, just saying, I see you. And all these parts that are struggling or difficult. And responding with, I care about your difficulties. Picturing yourself saying your name in your mind and just saying, I love you. Keep going. I love you. Keep going. No matter what the mind is saying otherwise, just come back to the words. Even if it's a sarcastic tone in your mind, that's okay. I love you. Keep going. I care for you. Keep going. As the body breathes, the body rests. Noticing what comes up, resistance. When you say these words, or maybe there's a part of you that's been waiting for these words from you. I love you. Keep going. Now just letting go of the words, even letting go of this practice, letting go of the guidance. In these last few minutes, just listening to your own intuition of what the body might need right now. A shift, a movement, the eyes wanting to open, or even the mind. The mind wants to float away in a thought. Just notice, without judgment. What do you need right now? Maybe it's just a few more minutes to rest in any goodness that has been cultivated from your practice. You can do that too. as I ring the bell in a couple moments here. I invite you to just really listen to the bell all the way through. Ring it 3 times. And you get to shift and bring your awareness outward on your own time. The bell doesn't mean much other than that. It's just a shift from inner to outer awareness. Thank you all.
Please subscribe, rate, and review. Stay up, stay true, be you.